Imagine a world where the machines that move us, power our homes, and build our cities don't just operate, they think. A world where mobility is autonomous. Energy flows freely like information on the internet, and the boundaries between artificial intelligence and the physical world dissolve into something entirely new. Now imagine that this future, the future, we assume, belongs to tomorrow, was quietly set into motion years ago, buried inside prototypes Tesla never released, experiments they never announced, and decisions they made long before the world understood what they were truly building. This is not the story of cars. This is not the story of Elon Musk. This is the story of a blueprinted, invisible roadmap that has been guiding Tesla from the very beginning. Because behind the headlines, behind the stock price, behind every viral announcement, lies a deeper truth. Tesla's greatest innovations aren't spontaneous strokes of genius. They are echoes from the past. They are unfinished sketches, archived patents, rejected prototypes, failed experiments that weren't failures at all. They were seeds. Seeds planted more than a decade ago, now ready to break through the surface. What if Tesla's most transformative technologies, the kind that will define the next century, were already invented, hidden in plain sight? What if the battery revolution, the robot uprising, the autonomous world, the self-healing energy grid, the fully automated factories were not dreams of the future but relics of Tesla's past? Every company has a history, but Tesla has something far more dangerous. It has a hidden lineage of ideas that the public never saw. Ideas that investors never understood, ideas that engineers whispered about long after the prototypes were dismantled and the world moved on. But Tesla didn't move on. It rarely abandons an idea, it only delays it. Until the world is ready. And now, for the first time, those lost chapters, those secret beginnings, those overlooked fragments are forming a clear picture. A picture of the future Tesla is preparing to unleash. So before we talk about where Tesla is headed, we must ask a more important question. What did Tesla already build? What did they already test? What did they already prove possible, long before anyone realized? Because sometimes the most powerful future is not created by imagining what comes next, but by recognizing what was quietly set in motion long ago. This is the untold history of Tesla's future innovations. Not the story you've heard, not the story you expected. The story that changes everything. Tesla is a company often misunderstood, even by the people who admire it. Most see it as a car company. Some see it as an energy company. A few see it as a robotics company. But very few understand the deeper truth. Tesla is a long-term innovation engine whose real work happens decades before the public hears a word about it. The origins of Tesla's future innovations do not begin with the Cybertruck or the Model S or even the original Roadster. They begin with a culture and obsession with building for a future that doesn't exist yet, a future that society hasn't imagined, a future that governments haven't planned for, a future that technology companies haven't caught up to. Tesla has always been a company out of time. Too early when it first started, too misunderstood when it grew, too ambitious when it succeeded, and too unstoppable now. But what is rarely discussed is how far Tesla's roots reach, how deeply its future depends on its forgotten past. Hidden inside old patent filings are early hints of technologies that Tesla hasn't released. Yet, buried in Elon Musk's earliest interviews are references to systems he wouldn't attempt for another 10 years. And scattered across old prototypes, some destroyed, some archived, some quietly reused, are clues about the innovations Tesla planned long before the world could comprehend them. Tesla's journey is not linear. It is layered, recursive. Every innovation Tesla launches is built on top of a foundation laid years before, sometimes decades before. And when something fails, Tesla doesn't bury it. Tesla stores it, refines it, and resurrects it when the timing is right. This is why predicting Tesla's future by looking only at today's technology is a mistake. The real hints are in the pastine, the abandoned experiments, the unexplained design decisions, the internal projects the public never learned about. And when you begin to connect those dots, a new picture emerges. A picture of a company preparing not just to transform transportation, but to redefine the relationship between humanity, technology, and the physical world. A picture of energy systems that think, vehicles that learn, robots that evolve, and factories that build more factories. Tesla's future didn't start tomorrow. It started years ago, quietly, invisibly, relentlessly. And the closer we look at its untold history, the clearer the future becomes. To understand where Tesla is going, you must first understand what it left behind. The history of Tesla's future isn't written in public announcements or shiny keynotes. It lives in the forgotten prototypes, the abandoned ideas, the unexplained experiments, and the whispers inside gigafactory walls. Tesla's future has been hiding in plain sight, scattered like clues across its early years, waiting for someone to trace them back to their origin. One of the earliest clues lies in the first-generation Roadster, a car most people think of as Tesla's humble beginning. But the Roadster wasn't just a car, it was a laboratory on wheels. Engineers tried battery modules far more advanced than what the world was ready for. They experimented with wireless charging pads that never made it to production. They tested swappable battery packs long before any competitor considered it. These prototypes weren't failures. They were seeds for a future where energy doesn't need to be refilled, but flows seamlessly, invisibly, through an ecosystem Tesla is still quietly building. Then came the mysterious projects inside Gigafactory Nevada rooms that visitors were never allowed to see. Lines that were built but never activated. Machines that tested battery chemistries beyond public documentation. Some employees whispered about early versions of Tesla's 4,680 battery years before its official reveal. Others hinted at energy-dense prototypes too expensive to produce at the time but destined to reappear when manufacturing matured. These weren't abandoned dreams, they were delayed breakthroughs, paused until the world caught up. But perhaps the most fascinating origins of Tesla's future innovations lie in its artificial intelligence experiments. Before the world argued about autopilot and full self-driving, Tesla was gathering something far more valuable than data. It was gathering understanding. Early autopilot systems ran shadow modes, secretly predicting what the driver should do, learning from every mistake, every turn, every hesitation. This quiet accumulation of intelligence built the foundation for a future where Tesla vehicles don't just drive, they think, they adapt, they evolve. What looks like a simple update today is actually the resurrection of an idea born a decade ago. What looks like AI progress is actually Tesla's long game finally revealing itself. Consider Tesla Energy, the company's secret empire growing in the background. Years before Powerwalls, engineers experimented with home energy systems under solar systems. They tested microgrids that could power neighborhoods without touching the main grid. They built early versions of self-healing systems that reroute power during outages, technology the world still hasn't fully seen. Back then, it was too expensive, too futuristic. Not the right time, but Tesla never forgot. Today, as global energy infrastructure strains under pressure, those forgotten experiments are returning stronger, cheaper, smarter. Tesla Energy is not just a product lineup, it is the foundation of a future where entire cities may run on intelligent, decentralized networks powered by AI. And then there is Optimus, the humanoid robot the world laughed at when it first appeared. But few people know that Optimus's origins began not with robotics researchers, but with Tesla's manufacturing automation teams nearly a decade earlier. Tesla didn't set out to build a robot. It set out to solve a manufacturing bottleneck. In doing so, it stumbled into a revelation. The same AI that drives cars can drive machines that walk, lift, build, and someday replace repetitive human labor. Optimus is not Tesla's newest invention, it is Tesla's oldest secret, finally taking physical form. Look deeper, and the future becomes even more astonishing. Early Tesla patents show hints of drone-based delivery systems. Elon Musk's old interviews reference autonomous fleets years before anyone took the idea seriously. Minor design decisions in autopilot hardware hint at capabilities yet to be activated. Even Tesla's factories designed, like living machines, suggest a future where factories don't just produce products, they reproduce themselves. None of this is coincidence. None of this is accidental. Tesla's future innovations were never sudden. They were never surprising. They were written in Tesla's past, hidden behind every experiment, every prototype, every risk. Tesla didn't plan for next year. It planned for the next era. In the end, the story of Tesla's future is not a story about machines. It is not about cars, or batteries, or robots, or factories. It is a story about intention, relentless, disciplined, visionary intention. A story about a company that never measured itself by quarterly numbers, but by the shape of a future it believed it could create. When we look at Tesla today, we see disruption, we see innovation, we see a company that has reshaped entire industries. But when you look closer, when you peel back the layers, you discover something far more profound. Tesla didn't simply invent the future. It prepared for it patiently, quietly, unapologetically. Every abandoned prototype, every failed experiment, every idea shelved for another time, was never wasted. Tesla treated each one like a chapter in a book it hadn't finished writing. A book whose ending was already known, even when the world doubted it. A book whose pages were filled not with predictions, but with plans. This is why the future feels inevitable for Tesla. Because Tesla has been building that future long before anyone realized it. The company doesn't chase trends, it creates them. It doesn't respond to the world, it anticipates it. It doesn't follow technology, it defines the direction technology will take. Think about what this means. It means that the autonomous revolution we read just beginning to glimpse was already set into motion years ago through data collection the world didn't even know was happening. It means the robots that will one day build our cities were born from manufacturing solutions developed in secrecy a decade ago. It means the energy systems that will power continents were prototyped quietly in dusty warehouses, long before the world understood the scale of the coming energy crisis. It means that the Tesla of today is not reacting to the present, it is executing a blueprint from the past. Most companies innovate by looking forward. Tesla innovates by reaching backward, pulling old ideas forward, refining them, resurrecting them, transforming them into the technologies that will define the next century. And that is the most powerful truth of all. Tesla's future isn't just predictable, it's traceable. The clues are everywhere, hidden in plain sight, waiting for the world to connect them. What seems like sudden genius is actually patient evolution. What seems like bold risk is actually long-term strategy. What seems like the unknown is actually the inevitable. So when you hear about Tesla's next breakthrough, whether it's a robot that replaces human labor, a battery that lasts a lifetime, a car that drives itself flawlessly, or a grid that runs entirely on clean energy, remember this: it didn't start today. It started years ago, quietly, invisibly, in the background of Tesla's early history. And that is why Tesla's future innovations feel unstoppable. Because they were set in motion long before the world understood what they were capable of becoming. The final question, then, is not what Tesla will build next. The real question is, what has Tesla already built that we haven't seen yet? Because somewhere inside a gigafactory, in a lab no one is allowed to enter, or buried within a patent no one bothered to read. The next chapter of this story is already written, and when it emerges not as an idea, but as a reality, it will once again remind the world that Tesla is not simply building products. Tesla is building the future.